Ah, hi everyone, welcome back to Katarina's Garage. My name is Katarina Lloyd, and actually I am here at the Reynolds Museum in Wetaskin, and it's 70s, so as you can tell, I am kind of all kitted out in the best 70s stuff I have, because I don't have many 70s dresses, or actually any, to be honest. So, how do they do with 50s? The hat 70s, the shoes work for 70s as well, and so yeah, this is a, like I said, 70s event, so let's go check out all of these. And this exhibit, you can actually see it right up until, I think it's October 13th, so a long period of time to be able to check out all these cool vehicles. So you see, of course, the Volkswagen Beetle, which honestly, throughout the 70s, actually gained a ton of popularity because of, like right there, the oil crisis, which because OPEC it was 1972 or 73, decided they were no longer going to trade with the United States, and it made it so that it was a problem getting oil in the US or gasoline. So there was rations and everything, and there was lineups for miles, and it was just one of these things. The Volkswagen Beetle was a great little vehicle to combat all of that, because it got really good gas mileage. It was a small little car, and they were actually a very simple car too, because these have I think a 1600cc flat 4. They don't produce a lot of power. Safety features are basically none, but it's honestly just a very, very cool sort of bug. And they're all honestly so simple. Like even the motors in these drop out with 4 bolts, to be honest. It's just really amazing. This one happens to be a 1975, and it's a Super Beetle, right? So, and you can read the full thing here if you just want to pause that. And yep, 1600cc, 48 horsepower, right? It's very neat, and they're super, super light. They're really cool, and something that, they're actually still very popular. And as you can tell, this one looks to be a bit of a survivor. It's got some bumps and bruises and stuff like that, but that's what's so amazing about some of these. And these do have bad issues with rust, but really, this one's actually in fantastic shape overall. And the cool dual exhaust, which, I mean, I don't even know if it was factory like that or not, but a lot of them had that, and it's definitely a period correct mod. So anyways, let's go check out the other vehicles. Now, and here we have a 1971 Lincoln Continental Mark III, and all of these had the 460 with a C6 automatic, and they all had a 9-inch rear end. And they were actually quite powerful. These things would actually rock it pretty damn well for being a big old boat. Because realistically, these things, it says 365 horsepower, but actually it's a lot more than that. These things are probably closer to 4.25 or so. But let's look at this paint. It's just gorgeous. The chrome is just immaculate. It's a big car. These are your comfortable sort of cruiser that way. You've got the brown vinyl top and the brown interior as well. It really plays well with the root beer metallic paint. Here we have, it actually shows, the oil crisis began in 73. Okay, that's what it was. I couldn't remember when it started. But, so here, this is a 72 Cutlass convertible, right? And again, just before that, although they kind of sort of knew this was coming, so what happened was they started to slowly detune vehicles after 1971. So 1972 is not going to have quite as much power as the 71 or earlier. Plus, also in 1971, they went from net horsepower or gross horsepower to net horsepower, which basically net horsepower is with the engine and all of its accessories still on it. Gross horsepower was not even with a water pump on it. It was just the motor, no accessories, nothing. This thing with a beautiful white interior. The orange paint, it's just gorgeous. Now here we have a Triumph TR6. So these came out, I think it was either 1970 or 69. They were just this cool little British sports coupe. All of them, I believe, were convertibles, and most of them were manuals. And honestly, these were just a hot car back in their day. Now, power numbers, I'm not really sure, but I'll go take a look at the thing. And this one just presents so well with the British racing green. And you can see a lot of the racing heritage, because even something that Mopar guys know all too well, the gas filler right up there, which is just really neat. And even seeing something that you don't see nowadays is the old luggage rack out back that's chrome. Just, and this one happens to be a 72. So just absolutely gorgeous car. And I love them so, so much. You know, and it's something that you just don't see these around. Because, you know, take a look here. So yeah, only 150 horsepower back in the day, but look at that, 2,500 pounds. Like, these things were quite the little bit of a beast actually that way. So very, very cool. And honestly, I love these old little sports cars. Here, now see, Mazda Familia R100, I've never seen one of these. This is just absolutely gorgeous, because for me, when I see this, it reminds me a little bit of the Mazda RX-3 or the non-rotary version, which was the Mazda, oh, what was it called? Somebody will know, I can't remember the exact name, but these are really neat, because I'm assuming, being it's a Familia, it's not a rotary? Oh, no, it is a rotary. There you go. That's really cool. Now it's interesting that this is a 4-stroke rotary, because rotaries as a design act more like a 2-stroke, to be honest, because they use oil, and you actually have to make a premix of when you fill up for fuel, because again, it uses oil. So it's quite interesting. And here we have something really cool, which is a Datsun 240Z race car. Now, the one thing is, you can tell, like, they did all the aerodynamic touches, like, you know, fill in where the headlights were, like that, and just even the tape around the trim, just to make it as aerodynamic as they could. It's got a full roll cage in it and stuff like that. And these were quite popular as well when they came over, because they were reliable. They could actually be quite quick, and overall, this one is just so beautiful. I love the side dump exhaust. These had a 2.4 liter inline 6, and that's the one thing with the Z series was always a 6-cylinder. So yeah, and the 240 is one of the more popular ones, but the 260 is the most, or not the most desirable, but the rarest, because it was only a 1 year only. So it's pretty cool. You know, and just seeing even some of the headlines. Yeah, all these are just really neat, to be honest. You know?
Is this when Timbits came out?
I would guess so. 76? Sounds about right, to be honest. Vietnam. First female RCMP in 75. That's cool. You know, and then, oh, bikes. Didn't expect to see, to be honest. Seeing some bicycles, and actually, that's not, is that a Schwinn Phantom? No, it's like a Schwinn Phantom, but it's not. These were like, every kid wanted this style.
Banana seat.
Yep. It's similar to, well, I guess it's not the Phantom. Phantom's earlier, but I can't remember what they were called. But yeah, like the Schwinn sort of was the most popular. And you know, first Goldwing, which I believe was 76? 75, there you go. And yeah, what's interesting, because these are actually a flat 4 engine. And Goldwing since have always had a flat engine. Basically what I mean by that is the pistons are laid out like this instead of like at a V or even inline like that. So it's really cool. And then here, you know, you have your 69 Honda CB 750, right? Little sport bike. These were a quick little bike back in their day, and I love them, to be honest. You know, just very, very fun. You know, and I love the old Suzuki 750 and the Norton Commando. That was a hot bike back in the day too. You know, and moving on here, we see a Lincoln Town Car, which is really, really neat. I like the silver with the burgundy interior actually really makes it look good. And you know, it's a massive car. Like these are over 20 feet long, to be honest. And actually, a friend of mine, Greg, he daily drove these about 20 years ago, but then gas got too expensive. So then he decided that he was going to start daily driving Crown Victorias instead, because they're body on frame, just like this is, super comfortable, super opulent, 460 V8, just amazing. Absolutely amazing. You know, and then you go to the earlier 70s. This is what, so 76. So actually not as early as I thought, but you know, Chrysler Town and Country, which if you recognize that name, because they used that name on the minivans in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and so on. So these are so cool. I love these old wagons. And they typically had big blocks in them. Like this is probably either a 400 or a 440. It would have probably like an 8 3/4 rear end, you know, big old thing. And what's cool actually, because if you look in the back seat, you'll see it's a rear facing seat. They would fold down flat. You know, and I wouldn't be surprised if this actually has the option of where, so you'd put the key in it and you'd turn it and the back window would roll down. I wouldn't be shocked if that is like that, to be honest. Just very, very cool. So here we have, this is a bit of a mismatch of Challengers. So this is a 70 Challenger RT, one of the most popular ones, and like absolutely gorgeous. Like you take a look at the, you know, the front end the way it is. So like I was saying before, they had an announcement on the thing. So this hood is actually what was on the TAs, which the TA Challengers were made for homologation for the Trans Am Racing Series. And they would have a side dump exhaust on them, and they were powered by a 340 cubic inch motor, and a lot of them, I mean, they could have a 727 or a A833 manual 4-speed, which this one happens to have the pistol grip 4-speed in it. You might not be able to see that. It's a little dark in here, but you know, and just something that's really neat. I love the Mopars, the old, which they got from Boat Guys, to be honest. But you know, just very cool. Love the spoiler out back, and it's just one of the coolest cars to come out of the 70s. And these are, I think, well drag glides, to be honest. Very cool. Absolutely love it. Now, and even this one, Z28 Camaro, and this one is a 70. So, because the 71s actually had a split rear bumper on them, and they were basically like, everybody wanted the split bumper. And to be honest, the split bumper is my favorite too. But these Camaros are really, really cool, and you don't see them very much anymore. You see more of the later ones. But honestly, seeing this, just absolutely gorgeous. You know, love, love, love this. And Hugger Orange, just like that, that Cutlass out front. So, yeah, overall, very, very neat. Now here, we actually have something really, really neat. So this is an AMC AMX SS, no, not an SST, but it has a 390. Now what's interesting with the AMX, because what this is, they took the AMC Javelin, and then all they did, they chopped the back off of it a little bit, they removed the rear seats, made it much lighter, and these dominated. Everybody thought, you know, like the Chevrolet Corvette was top dog when it came to handling prowess and power. Oh no, here comes the AMX. The AMX only, I believe, was available with the 390 or the 401. Possibly 343, but I don't think so. I think it was 390, 401 only. And, you know, very cool. Now, what's interesting about the AMC V8s is that they actually are basically all the same, other than heads are a little different, internals are a little different, but the block is the same from the 290 all the way up to the 401. It's just amazing. So here we have so over there I was talking about that Challenger RT, and with the TA roots that it has, here is a 1970 Boss Mustang 302. These, again, homologation for the Trans Am Racing Series. Pernelli Jones actually campaigned these cars and was kicking ass. Although the AMX that I previewed over there, those actually were keeping up with these pretty darn good. And it's really cool because they have the cool old shaker under the hood. And, you know, they're all powered by 302. I believe they're all manual transmissions as well. And it's just very, very neat. And beside it, we actually have my friend Alicia's 77 Mustang Cobra II. This one with a 302 with the S-Rod manual in it. And I've actually done a video of this on my channel. If you want to go check it out, this thing is very loud because she's got Super 10s in it. You know, basically not much of a muffler. But what's interesting, because like the base wheel were these 13-inch wheels. They look really good, but they're only 13s. So where typically most manufacturers had 14s as standard and sometimes 15 as the option. But this is just a little different that way. And what's neat is, like, you know, seeing the patina of it with the cracking on the stripes, and even, you know, like looking, it shows its age, because you even see down here, right? It's just a survivor that way. This one happens to have a couple of performance goodies under the hood, but overall, it's a very, very cool ride. And like the white interior, which is something you never really see anymore, the white vinyl. And what's interesting is how many similarities there are between this and the Fox body is quite surprising. But because the Fox body came out after this, right? However, you know, this was when it comes to collectors, the bastard child of the Mustang family, because these are actually based on the Ford Pinto. So the Ford Pinto only had a 4-cylinder and a 2.8 liter V6. These had the 2.8 liter V6 or the 302. But the 302 was not available in 1974. It's the only year that they didn't have it. So, very cool. But then here we see one of the more desirable cars of the 60s. This happens to be a 69 Dodge Charger, and this is the SE Special Edition. Now, the Charger, what's interesting about this, because people don't know this, is that the Charger could even be had with the lowly 225 slant 6, but they could have, you know, the 318, the 340, the 440, and the 426 Hemi. Now, let's see, this one happens to be the 383. So, still big block, and honestly, just very, very cool. Love this Coke bottle shape that it has, to be honest. And this one, has the 4-speed manual in it as well. You know, just gorgeous. Absolutely love it with these old Redline tires. And oh yeah. Just absolutely gorgeous. And I love these. They're some of my favorite cars, to be honest. Now, I really, don't get me wrong, I would actually take that AMX over this Charger. And what's interesting actually about the AMX is because AMCs, they were where, you know, it went Chevrolet, Ford, Chrysler. AMC was last, so they actually did cherry pick basically off of everybody else. So just very interesting about those. Now, and the last car that you just saw, which was that Cobra II Mustang, and this actually share a lot of things in common, because the Mustang 2 is based off of one of these. Now, technically, this is the Mercury Bobcat version, the Mercury version, but the Ford Pinto was the base. This was the luxury one, which there's no luxury involved with these. Honestly, they're just kind of neat. I like to see these, but these had a problem, a very big problem. And that was the fact that a design flaw with 2 bolts that protruded out, when you got into a rear end collision, it would crush the fuel tank and blow up. So there was a lot of things about people would paint these things up and said, don't rear end me, I'll blow up and stuff like that. Just a lot of jokes. Oh yeah. Yeah, just overall very cool though. This is obviously being a 78, it's got these massive, you know, bumper extensions and stuff like that on it, but overall very cool. So here we have a cool old 78 Chrysler New Yorker two-door. And look at the massive size of this car. This is a two-door, and it's probably close to 20 feet long, or maybe even a little longer. These were just the epitome of 70s excess and luxury. These all would have had some sort of a big block in them, whether it was a 400 or a 440. And like, take a look even at how pillowy those seats are. Like, again, just super, super comfortable. This would have like the one finger power steering where you could just hold onto the steering wheel with one finger and just turn the wheel. Honestly, just very, very cool. Absolutely love it. So here we have a 1976 Ford Gran Torino that's dressed up like the Starsky and Hutch car, which anytime you see one of these two-door Torinos, 9 times out of 10, somebody's painted it red and somebody's done the stripe on it, because it was a detective show that was very, very popular, and they even got the replica light. But that light should have a glass bulb, like a, you know, lens on it, but it doesn't. However, that's okay. It's just, and it's one of these things, you know. Oh yeah, the bench seat would be very comfortable too. Like, these are a comfortable car, to be honest. And this was Ford's, so it was a muscle car, although it could be a family car as well, in the 60s and early 70s. The mid to late 70s, it was more just kind of this, they shifted more towards luxury more than anything, but overall, very cool to see it. So here we have a 79 Bronco, which these are my favorite. So 1978 was the first year of the full-size Bronco. They got rid of the smaller original Bronco, which started in 1964, I believe. Had a long run, to be honest. And this one, you know, being in this sort of color scheme, this happens to be the 400, which probably 400 modified, because I did have a 400 non-modified motor. And what I mean by modified, so technically it wasn't actually called the 400 modified from the factory, but it's just what people call it now, because it essentially what it is, it's a modified Cleveland block from the early 70s. So, you know, and they just stroked it out a bit and whatever else. This thing's super cool. I love this whole decal job and everything. I've seen a few of them like this, and it's just neat. And what's cool, because this cap actually should be able to be removed, and the back passengers could actually be in a convertible, essentially. So it's very nice. Very, very cool. And these were very popular, and honestly, people love to go off-roading in them because I did that extremely well, and overall, just a neat rig. And okay, I must admit, so the lock that actually says Ford on it for the spare tire, that's pretty neat. So here we have something really neat. Actually, this one, what year is it? 71. So they made these from 68 to 1972. This is the GMC version, because the Chevrolet, literally the exact same truck. The only difference is, got a different grille in it, different badging on it. That's about it. Even though Chevrolet will try and tell you, oh no, the GMC and Chevrolet are different, they're really not. Especially nowadays, they're almost the same. But this one is actually a, so this would be a K10, or K1500 actually, they called them from here. They were K10 with Chevrolet. So honestly, very popular trucks. This one being a single cab short box, you know, 4x4 is really neat. And overall, beautiful condition too. I absolutely love it. With this old blue paint, and love it. Now, let's see, what engine's in this one? This one has, oh, is this an inline? Or, no, it's an LS. 4.8 liter. Because unless, hang on. No. This one confuses me, because it could be an LS, but they're showing, because I think they're showing power numbers of what they could have been originally, but I've never heard of a 4.8 liter or a 292, unless if that's the inline 6. Honestly, somebody will have to tell me in the comments. I just, right now, my memory is blanking. So, very cool rig though. So here we have a Dodge Warlock. Now these, factory this way, now not with the patina, but you see, so these pinstripes, that's factory, and these stake sides would be factory as well. This one's a little hot roddy because you can see, well, down there. And Dodge in the late 70s with their trucks were just honestly, they were trying to find a way to have them sell more vehicles. And so they made this, they made the Little Red Express, and they made the Midnight Express. And, you know, the Little Red Express was actually the fastest car in North America in 1978, which is kind of interesting because it's a truck with stacks on it. But honestly, gotta love that tin grill. Ah, just beautiful. And then here we have one of the last iterations of the C3 Corvette. So the C3 Corvette spanned from 1968 until 1981 or 82. I'm trying to remember the year that there wasn't a Corvette. I think that was 83. So this one being 78, you know, this one actually being an L88, this is rare because it actually has a 350 in it. Most of these were powered by a good old 305. And in California, you could not get the 350 because it did not meet emission standards. So with these later ones starting in, I think it was 76, they started to do this more bubble hatch style. But the one thing is, this doesn't open up. None of this back opens up. So storage is rather limited in these, but it's cool, you know, America's sports car. T-tops are awesome too. So honestly, I think we've seen the entire exhibit at this point, which actually was really cool. Got really good content out of it, and yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, all that different stuff. My feet hurt, but you know, beauty is pain apparently. That's what they say. Anyways, hope you're staying safe during COVID-19. Good luck with what we're working on. You know the whole spiel if you watch my channel. Yeah, bye!